Capitol tonight. Now that Governor Cuomo is set for another 4 years, local leaders will be watching to see what his priorities are. And he's giving a little bit of a hint. This is especially when it comes to items such as taxes, shared services, and education. He has been talking about these issues. Joining me now to talk about what they hope to see moving forward and whether side is Stephen Aquario, Executive Director of the New York State Association of Counties, and Peter Baines, the Executive Director of the New York Conference of Mayors. Welcome back to Capitol tonight, both of you.
Thank you.
So the governor didn't do a lot of talking about his agenda, right? Only at the very end of the campaign. He said, if you like what you saw for the past 4 years, give me another. We're just going to continue doing more of the same. If that was all it was, then perhaps you guys would be feeling good. He did put out an agenda, a briefing book late in the game at the campaign. And then the week before Election Day, he started making some noises that I think might be concerning to you. He said the damn, quote-unquote, property tax problem is all about local government. So I'll start with you, Pete. What do you think about that? I mean, he also said, I'm going to attack them, quote, because we have to find savings from our local governments. I mean, that's enough to put the fear of God in you.
Well, I hope he means attack property taxes and not local governments, because local governments themselves are doing everything they can to attack property taxes. You know, the governor's been doing two things as it relates to local governments. He's been saying there are too many of them, and that they're wasteful. You know, on the first point, you've cited before the 10,500 number the governor talks about.
Since he was Attorney General, not
yes.
new, not new for him. Yeah.
But you know, the one thing the governor could do single-handedly right off the bat to begin his second term to reduce the number of local governments by 2/3 would be to start using the correct number for how many local governments there are. There's 3,900, which on a per capita basis is relatively low as you look across the country.
So that's fascinating. So the number that he's using there includes what, sewer districts and duck waste management
basically
districts?
billing districts that are used just as a way. There aren't people behind them. There aren't employees. There's not patronage. There's not equipment. It's just a billing mechanism so that people are charged fairly for the services they receive.
Do you disagree here? You think that by this governor, or will be under attack going forward?
Well, I think we're going to look at that comment that he wants to attack property taxes, and that's a good thing for the people of New York State. He has made it a priority. We have made it a priority. The way we look at government in New York State, it's about local government. It's the government closest to the people, and that when the state officials get up in the morning, they ought to figure out every way that they possibly can help the local governments serve their communities. And that's the way local government officials operate. We're really a government closest to the people.
So when he says, and this was in an interview with a Long Island radio station, he says that every local government official, their approach to life is, quote, I want one of everything. Everybody has to have their own snowplows, their own back office. Everyone has their own little political fiefdoms that we can't afford it anymore, and we're going to have to tighten their belts just like everyone else in New York has to tighten theirs. That's his mission going forward. Those are the governor's words that I'm reading to you. I mean, first of all, there have been efforts and economies of scale. There have been consolidations of back office efforts. I've certainly spoken to a number of local elected officials. I mean, are you doing everything you can, do you think?
Definitely not everything local governments can do, but they're trying to do as much as they can that makes sense. It doesn't always make sense to share a service or consolidate a service with another local government, but we've surveyed our members, and they are sharing equipment, facilities, getting rid of justice courts, getting rid of code enforcement officers and transferring up to another level of government, getting rid of assessing as a function. I mean, they're doing these things day in and day out. Have they done every single thing they can? No, but in response to the governor's tax freeze that was enacted, they are sitting down, cities, villages, towns, under the auspices in many cases of county executives, saying, okay, these are the things we've done. What more can we do to be even more efficient? So I think rather than making local governments the fall guys and fall gals, you know, working with them, I think would be a better approach to getting real property tax relief.
The Attorney General pushed through a law that was supposed to make government consolidation easier, and most municipalities have not actually taken him up on the offer. I don't think there's been...
It's not the municipalities, though. It's the residents.
It's the residents,
yes,
right.
There have been many more votes,
yep.
but the votes have been defeated.
Right.
But as Peter has mentioned, I think that these local governments, even with that law on the books, we are working together. in every county, in every corner of this state. The local governments are sharing services. They are looking for efficiencies. We could always do more. But if you look at the snowplow comment, we plow the state roads. It's not the other way around. They don't plow our roads. So the local governments are the backbone of this state.
Do you think that this could be perhaps a little political rhetoric that got overheated? Because let's remember, the governor's opponent, the Republican opponent, was a county executive. Rob Astorino is a county executive of the governor's own county. Now, Rob Astorino, they have astronomically high property taxes there. Rob Astorino has held the line on county property taxes, but he doesn't have control over anything else in his position. The governor blamed him for the high property taxes there. I mean, maybe that's what this is about. Are you hoping that perhaps there was some element of silly season talk?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the high property tax comment about Westchester County has nothing to do with the county executive and the county legislature in Westchester. It's factors outside of the county government's control. He made the comment on Long Island. Long Island has very high property taxes. Let's hope that he continues to focus like a laser on property taxes. But what is the root cause of that tax?
Mandate.
Why are the counties sending $12 billion of local taxes to state programs and state initiatives? The state should pay for their programs.
Well, okay, so what's the worst thing that he could do? I understand what you're saying, that he should revise his number, but when the budget comes out, and it'll be coming out, you know, fairly in short order, I'm sure they're working on it now, it'll come out early. The worst thing he could do? I mean, cut revenue sharing. That's already been cut for local governments. I mean, it's been flat recently, but it has not been restored from the cuts that were made several years ago.
I mean, AIM funding, revenue sharing, is down 14% in real dollars since 2008, the last time there was an increase. So to keep revenue sharing flat or AIM funding flat, I think would be very harmful. You know, local governments have not received increases in aid. School aid this year went up by $1.1 billion. The entire revenue sharing or AIM program is $700 million. So schools are clearly very important and need many resources from the state. But you've got to make a commitment financially to local governments if you're also going to criticize them for not being efficient.
And we'll leave this here, so I'll give you the last word, Steve. I mean, certainly the Republican win in the Senate. They've been more open to the mandate relief idea, although there are Democrats who are open to it also. I mean, maybe you need to retool your message. Call it something other than mandate relief or something. I mean, will you change your approach?
I think we have to engage the citizenry, why it matters, bring that message to the people, and have them communicate why these local government programs are so important. This property tax cap is forcing elimination of local services. It's going to become more and more of a problem.
Well, we will see. I thank you very much, Steve Aquario, Peter Baines, for coming in. I do appreciate it, and we'll be talking a lot more about this, so I'm sure you'll both be back. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll get Proposition 1 reaction.